Hello and welcome to the Cardiac Cats YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jacob Shorba, and we are here today to participate in the 2024 WalkTheMock Content Creators Draft. Really excited to get into this. I tried last year, ended up having someone else signed up, wasn't able to do it, but let alone this year, we're finally able to. So what this essentially is going to be is we're going to have 32 people, all from these teams, fans, people who put up YouTube videos, some of them more so maybe people in the media. A lot of different people in this, right? And they're all going to be drafting for their own teams. It's going to be trades. It's going to be 2 rounds ultimately. Wish it was a little longer personally, but this is what we got. And we're going to do our best with these 2 picks to make really good additions to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's what we've got going on tonight. And I'll let you guys know I've already talked to some of the teams trying to see what I can get done beforehand. I've talked to the Cardinals. I've talked to the Saints. I'll probably try to talk to some other ones as well. I don't think we're going to be able to make a huge move up the board. Just based off what I've heard, I sent Arizona a pretty big offer, and it sounds like they're going to stay put. So we'll see what we can do, but we're definitely going to watch close, and I'll tell you right now, I don't know who we're going to land at all, because these things can get crazy. I remember last year, I think the Denver Broncos trade up for Bijan Robinson, so you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Let me know what you guys think. Anything Jaguars related, we've got 15 minutes here that we're going to be chilling out till this thing kicks off. Then it's going to go really rapid fire. We'll be flying through these picks, trying to make moves, and we'll see who we land at the end of the day. So definitely let me know what you guys, how's your weekend going? How are you enjoying it? Ready for Easter? All that sort of stuff. And just so you guys can see this as well, I think it's in the description. I hope it is. I'll double check. But I have my big board up. This is not 100% up to date. I did my best with it to get it close. But you can see where we've got some of these players listed. I will say, like, as far as my strategy, obviously the first thing I looked at was making a big move for receiver. And I don't know if that's going to be possible. I think realistically, we're probably looking at Rome Odunze if he falls. And that's probably the only receiver that we're going to get in the first round if anything happens. But we're going to look really close to some other players too. Definitely going to be watching Dallas Turner, Terrion Arnold, 2 really good players behind the big 6 for me. You've also got Talise Fuaga. A lot of people have him as a tackle. I personally have him as a guard. I think he would be incredible as the future right guard for this team. And, you know, he can play tackle. I just think he's an all-pro if he plays the guard position. You got Quinyon Mitchell as well, another great cornerback. Jared Verse, really good defensive end. And then Olu Fashanu, who we took in our draft yesterday. Did the first round with Dustin Mosier. That was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. Wasn't super thrilled at the time with the pick, but I've kind of changed my mind on it a little bit. I think this might be, if you see someone fall down the board, maybe the player that we end up getting. So we'll have to see what happens, for sure. And yeah, it is just the first 2 rounds. I was hoping this was 7. I think last year they did 3, but unfortunately it's not. I would be completely fine sitting here for a long time tonight running through this. We've got, I think, about 150 prospects on the big board, so we'd have people probably the whole way through the draft. One thing I did want to mention as well, just so you guys know, I don't know if I really got this out here enough. I'm not going to hammer it home a ton. But because we reached 500 subscribers recently, I was able to get things monetized on the channel. So we have donations now. You can do those during streams. You can do that on videos like normal. We also have some memberships I just want to talk about for a moment. You guys, it's completely up to you if you want to do this stuff. Not trying to force that down anyone's throats, you know, but I think it's some fun stuff that we're going to be offering. I've got 3 levels. Entry levels Duval Faithful. It's just going to be some basic stuff. You get some badges for videos. You'll get custom emojis based off of some of the stuff we have in our shop. I'll make sure to reply to your comments as well. I try to do that with everyone as long as it's not like outlandish or I just have no idea what to say. And then we're also going to build up a Discord server. So I'm hoping through that we can have a good group of Jaguars fans, be able to talk more and really just all the time. That's going to be open 24/7. And then the On the Prowl membership is going to have everything from before. You're also going to get early access to new videos as long as it's not breaking news. And then you're also going to get shoutouts. And then finally, we have the Till We Die rank. This is going to be $10 a month, but we're going to do roundtable chats each month. If we have one person in this chat, I will still be there. It doesn't need to have like 10 people or whatever, but that's what we're going to offer with this, and it'll go at least for an hour. Might talk even longer. You guys know I love talking about the Jaguars. And you'll also get discounted merchandise. I believe it's 10 or 15% off the store. So these are some of the things that are available now. If you want to do them, you're more than welcome to. I'm glad to answer any questions on them. If you don't, no worries at all. I appreciate you guys watching this channel. It's been great the last month. We've grown from, I think, like 350 subscribers all the way up to 535 in like the span of like a few weeks. So thank you, 2024 free agency. But yeah, it's been great. We're going to go ahead. We're going to go into this draft. I've got my rankings imported here, so you'll see this lines up with the draft big board. We got a lot of people in here. Got the Goat House, great YouTube channel there. He'll be running for the Chicago Bears. So really excited about that. Like I said, I would like to trade up for a wide receiver if I can. I just don't think I'll be able to. Realistically, I have talked to the Cardinals GM, and I think that's where it's going to have to happen. I will definitely, if Marvin Harrison Jr. falls past 4, I'll be shooting a big offer to the Los Angeles Chargers. The problem is that I think most people that are fans are not going to be a fan of moving back out of that pick if you got that kind of player. It just makes it hard, and in real life it's different because both the Chargers and the Cardinals right now are talking about moving back in the draft. They're talking about trading back with the team. And it's pretty clear that they aren't as high as we think on getting the top receivers, especially when there's 3 of them. And I think 2 set themselves apart maybe a little bit more. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is clearly the best, but still, 3 very good receivers here. And maybe that helps us out. Maybe that pushes players down the board. But I think that's more so of a real life thing than maybe what we're going to see here. and the Jaguars scriptwriter with AD. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe if we trade up in the first, if he's fallen down the board, I'll definitely be watching that. That'll be something we consider. It's just going to be expensive. And at 17, it's a little rich for me. I would rather be getting a more of a bona fide, like, superstar player. And I think AD could be that, but I don't know. I don't have him as high as some people. So I respect it. But yeah. We'll have to see what happens because sometimes these players fall. I don't know really what's going to happen with receivers. After we get through Harrison and Neighbors and Odunze, it's anyone's guess. I mean, for all I know, we could be sitting here at 17 and Brian Thomas Jr. and Adonai Mitchell are off the board at that pick. So we'll have to see. We've also got a chat in here as well. All the GMs will be talking here, so I'll try to kind of monitor that. Might shoot a message to the Chargers GM. I'm not sure yet, though. It's kind of late to do it. But as you guys can see, 6 minutes till this thing kicks off. If you got any draft questions, anything in general, doesn't even have to be the draft. That's completely fine. I don't think I can stream to Twitter. I have not set that up. I'll have to look into it. I know there's some like weird rules sometimes as far as streaming goes, but I did put out a link on Twitter, so hopefully people can look at that. I know last year, when I went out to the draft, because I actually attended the one in Kansas City, because I live really close by. I'm just basically an hour north. I tried streaming out there because we had like 6 hours where we were just sitting around because we got like really good a spot there. We were right by the water fountain that was right off the stage. And I wanted to stream, but ended up not being able to because YouTube just won't even allow it. And so, Twitter might be kind of weird with that. I don't know how to set it up. I'll have to look into it. Maybe it's a restream thing, but I don't have an account through that right now. And yeah, Evan, I'm definitely looking at trading up. I think the teams that you're looking at, the first one I talked to was Arizona. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. He basically said he wants to sit there, and I I don't think he changes his mind if Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, because I made it pretty clear to him, like, that's who the trade's for. There's no deception that I can really make there. Los Angeles will definitely be a team I look at if Marvin Harrison Jr. falls there. I don't think I'm comfortable moving up for Neighbors before the Titans pick, so he'll probably be off at least by then. I would imagine he's off by New York Giants pick. And then maybe if Odunze's there at 10, that's another one I'll look at. Other than that, I talked to the Saints. It sounds like they would accept a move up to 14 to jump the Colts and the Seahawks. That's a move that I'm probably going to make if we're looking at maybe Arnold or Fuaga still being on the board. And I don't know if I'll make it for Fuaga, because to me that kind of depends on, does another team trade up in front of me? And then second, do we have maybe the Seahawks look at Fuaga as a guard as well? And I know the Saints guy wants offensive line or edge rusher, from what I've heard. Yeah, he is the Bears GM. He's probably going to do pretty well as them. He's got 1-9. Yeah, those are his 2 picks. See, I don't think Odunze gets past 9, realistically. And I don't think he'll move back there. I might shoot him an offer, maybe of a first and second. We'll see how that goes. But I'm not sure if he'll take that. A lot of people are going to want to move up the board in this. That's usually how it works. But yeah, we're about to kick off here. Just about 7 o'clock. Pretty excited for this. As far as what I actually think will happen, I really don't know at this point. I think someone's going to snag Arnold well before us. I think Turner's going to be gone. It might be... It's probably going to be Fashanu. That's who I'd have to bet at the end of the day ends up being there. Maybe Versus. It's pretty close between those two. A lot of these prospects, I mean, honestly, I've got probably the exact same grade on a few of them. You look at, for example, like Turner and Arnold. They're probably identical grades for me. You look at, Verse and Fashanu, going to be identical. So maybe we'll have a bit of an option there and we'll go towards need, but that's just kind of where I got them ranked right now. But yeah, I can't wait for this thing to kick off. It's getting kind of boring having to wait until 7 o'clock and see what happens. But I think we'll know what's going to happen at the start of it. I mean, Caleb Williams is going to go. Second pick. I don't know there, actually. I think they're going to pick Jaden Daniels. I don't know what this guy thinks, personally, about who they should take a quarterback, but that's probably when things are going to get pretty crazy here. Let's see. Seahawks willing to trade back from 16. That's something we'll have to watch, because if we have someone on the board we really like, we might have to make that move one spot up the board. So that's something we'll have to look at. Detroit's looking to move up with them. The Raiders are willing to move back. That might be one I shoot an offer to. Say that Fuaga's there. I know the Saints guy is looking at tackle. Maybe we move up 4-13. Could definitely see that as an option. So, yeah, we got 45 seconds. This thing kicks off. Yeah, that's an awful trade. If the Seahawks accept that, that guy should just get fired. I mean, just to put context on that, to give up his third, to move up from 29 to 16, we gave up what was essentially a third to move up from 33 to 27. That was 6 spots, and this guy wants to move up into the top half of the first round. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to be real. Yeah, in a second. But yeah, that's something we're going to have to monitor. I think if we have a guy that we really like falling down the board, I don't think we can stay comfortable at 17 picking him. So it really just depends how this falls. And maybe we trade back. That's also possible. Ideal first rounder. I mean, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. for me. I'm a little crazy like that, but I would make the move for him. And that's probably what I'll end up doing as far as my own draft, because I'm going to be keeping track of 2 drafts while the actual event happens on April 25th. One is going to be what would I actually pick for the Jaguars in real life with where their roster is right now. The other one is going to be my mock rebuild. And so I'll be making draft picks for that too. You can find that on my Twitter. I posted it recently. I'm starting from this year and beyond, and it's just going to build upon the same roster. So I'm going to see like how contracts would play out, who I would have drafted, who I would have signed, do I hit, do I miss? It should be pretty fun. It's basically like playing Madden, except you're not playing Madden and it's, realistic. So I'll probably put up a video about that at the end of the offseason going through it, and we'll keep that going for a while until, things are just so different. We have no clue. But yeah. Okay. What the fuck? Okay. Well, I feel like this draft's ruined already. Theoretically. That's rough. If I'm the Bears, I'm gonna be as nice as I can be. I like Drake May. I'm not saying it, if I'm the Bears, I like Drake May. But if I'm the Bears and I liked Drake May, and that was my top guy, and you know that everyone else is going to want Caleb, why would you not trade down the board for a first-round pick? Or something? That is rough. Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, that's our start here. And yeah, we'll see. New England's pick will come off here soon. Everyone gets 2 minutes, so we'll see what happens. As far as my offer to Arizona, I'll give you guys an idea of what that was pretty quick, just so you know what I put up on the table. It was the Houston Texans offer, essentially. I was going to offer them the first this year, the first next year, second next year, third this year, and then I was going to shoot in a fourth if it was necessary. So it was a pretty big trade we were putting on the table for them. Oh, man. Yeah, we'll have to see what they do here at 3, because honestly, this Cardinals GM might get screwed here. They might just take Marvin Harrison Jr., especially if this guy doesn't make his pick. I've seen that too many times on here. Okay, Jaden Daniels, that's realistic. I will just, if he doesn't, he's probably going to throw this in immediately. I will at least put this on the table. Yeah, I probably should ask for that. At least give him the chance, but I don't think he's going to take that. And in real life, I'll be honest, I would send this year's second to get it out of the way. I'd keep next year's second and flip the thirds as well, but I want to make the second pick in this draft. So, we don't just have a 10-minute stream and we're like, oh yeah, guys, we're done. That's all we're doing. I'll have to watch Broshmos after this, because, man, he's got to be very confused. I kind of wonder as well if Arizona's getting offers. Okay, Vikings moved up. All right. So we gotta hit up the Chargers. All right, I'm panicking right now. We gotta put this in fast. Please don't throw in your pick immediately. Okay. All right, let's see what they do. JJ McCarthy's off the board. I don't think they'll take this. Maybe they do. Let's cross our fingers that they do, because that would be, yeah, okay. We're rejected. So that's the issue. Real life, I think that's getting accepted. I think that's getting done, but no one who's a fan of that team is going to actually trade out of that pick. That sucks, but it's all right. We didn't really expect to get him. I'm not shocked that Minnesota moved up here. As far as the trade, okay, yeah, 3 first-rounders. Yeah, that's what gets it done. That's a better offer than what we got. It's not by much, but we can't beat quarterback offers for that pick. So, yeah, I don't blame the Chargers as well for moving, or not moving out of that pick, that is. It's a good move by them to pick him up. I do think that with their salary cap situation, they've got to, kind of start getting more young players and fixing that. But at the same time, they got to pick well. And if you got your guy there, you got your guy there. Look at last year with like Quinn and Johnston. They went wide receiver. They, I think, missed on it from what we've seen so far. That's kind of some of what incentivizes me, honestly, to make the move, because I feel like even with the amount of picks we're giving up, some of those are going to be misses, naturally. Yeah, if Neighbors somehow goes past the Titans, I'm definitely going to try to move up. But, man, gosh, this is quite the draft. I mean, this makes sense. I like 4. That makes sense for Minnesota. Now, if I'm Minnesota, I'm moving up to 3 for May, but someone likes Drake May a little too much, I think. Well, let's get an offer on the table for Atlanta, just in case. I'm sure our hopes and dreams will be dashed here in a second when Malik Neighbors disappears off the left, but I am definitely going to consider moving up with them here. I don't want to give up 16 this year, because I want to actually have a stream here. We'll offer a second. We'll also offer this year's third. So it'll be a first, second, and a third to move up 9 spots. And with this pick here, okay, Odunze. Yeah, all right. So the Odunze dream's dead, and they might just rush up to the table with this. It could be Neighbors. I'm not moving up for alt. I'm not even going to entertain it, honestly, because I think he's going to be gone a lot earlier than what would be worth it. Especially for offensive linemen, where it just feels like a lot of those top prospects don't hit as often as we think. Yeah, I'm looking to trade up, guys. We gotta see what happens here, because I'm not moving up with the Titans. They will never accept that trade. So we're just keeping this on hold right now until we see what happens with Tennessee's pick. And at that point, I'm probably not going to move up any earlier than like 12 or 13, maybe 13 with the Raiders. This guy's sure as hell taking a sweet time. I bet he's trading back. Honestly, I know the Titans talked about that in real life as well. If I was in this situation, I know they need offensive line, but I would be throwing in the card for Neighbors so fast, because you think of what they could do with that. I don't think Burks is anything at this point. You've got Neighbors and Ridley who can play inside and outside, and then you've also got DeAndre Hopkins, who is not fallen off a cliff yet. That would just be such a ridiculous receiving core for them. So I don't know why they'd think about moving out of this. Yeah, let me see what they're saying. It's probably chaos from the frickin'... Yeah, Drake May at 1, May number 1. Everything is about that. Pittsburgh and Carolina thinking about a move. Yeah, Arizona, check Twitter. Yeah, that wasn't going to happen, buddy. Okay, what's the pick? It's probably Neighbors. Yeah, all right. Well, that sucks. He wasn't even on here to make his pick, which is depressing. So even if we sent him an offer, it would have never got accepted because this guy actually AFK'd his pick. Very disappointing. Well, this is what happens. It sucks. So what we really do in this situation, like I've said, you want to move up for your wide receiver 1. But in this situation, we tried, and it just wasn't possible. I think in real life, this would have been accepted. I think we would have moved up with 5 with the Chargers, would have got Marvin Harrison Jr. and would have felt really good about it. But at the end of the day, these guys just fly off the board, and that's how people are going to view them, and that's completely fine. So at this point, we're kind of going to plan B. We're looking at probably... I know Joe Alt's here. I don't think he continues falling. Dallas Turner, I know he's not a huge need, but I think he's a really good player, someone I would move up for. I think it would be very similar to when the Jaguars drafted Josh Allen back in 2019. This wasn't a team that needed defense, and they were coming off a year where they were a little disappointing. They needed certain positions, but they went with the defensive player that had a high ceiling, that was really good already. You knew he was going to hit, even if it took time in Jacksonville. And you don't regret that now, because that's a need. And so, like, I think for Jacksonville, you don't have that third guy who can rotate. And so maybe you look at Turner as that option. I think he is the best pass rusher in this class. Jared Verse is pretty close, but, there's a lot of guys in between there for me. Okay, Cincinnati up to number 8. Got a big move. That's got to be Joe Alt. Yep, Joe Alt. All right. So, like I said, yeah, I'm not looking at Joe Alt because I just think it's a pipe dream. But Turner and Arnold, I'm not moving up until 13. I'll shoot Oakland an offer if one of them's there. Otherwise, we'll be looking at 14 with the Saints. And then maybe 16 with Seattle if there's a player that's sitting there we weren't able to move up for that we really desperately want, because there's going to be teams sending them offers. So that's kind of how we're going to take this. Oh yeah, thanks, man. This is a fun stream. This is a good one. We haven't done a real-time mock draft, I think, this whole off-season. We did a few last year, but I don't remember if I... Okay, we did one last year that was live. It was the day before the draft. And I did that with my friend Griffin. He's a Chiefs fan, and unfortunately, he basically just traded all his picks for the future for the Chiefs, so it wasn't that great. I did just get a message from the Arizona GM. So, yeah, he said, got a larger offer at first to move back. Didn't want us to versus stick and pick, but realistic that Arizona might move. Yeah, he's right. I'm going to message him back really quick. Yeah, for Arizona, if you're getting offered 3 first-rounders, it's pretty hard to compete with that. Okay, Dallas Turner's off the board. That kind of blows. Yeah, that Joe Alt trade is really spicy. It's a good move for them. I mean, it's worth it. Obviously, they've got... Gosh, they got the guy from... Orlando Brown from the Chiefs, who is playing left tackle, never should be. He should be playing right, and he's not nearly as good as what they paid him, even underpaying him, by the way. Brock Bowers. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's still a good move. What's the compensation? Okay. That's kind of killer. Man, if Neighbors got past Tennessee, we would have beat out that offer. 100%, because I was offering a first, second, and third, so yeah, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but we can't move up with the Tennessee Titans. I mean, even if the guy was here, he'd probably just tell us we don't negotiate with terrorists, and I'd probably say the same back, but yeah, at this point, Cardinals are here at 11. I unfortunately think Terry and Arnold might come off the board here. I'm going to shoot him an offer. Let's go 96. It's not much. I'm going to see if I can get him to bite on it. I don't think he's going to move out, though, because he's already moved back 8 spots. His options are... I mean, he's still got some good players here, but the bona fide, superstar guys are kind of dwindling at this point. Yeah, we'll see what he does here. You guys let me know. What would you do in this situation where we're at? Yep, trade rejected. Who's your top player? We've got Terry and Arnold. Not talking about Penix, obviously. Felice Fuaga's really good to still be here. Quinyon Mitchell is a nice pick. Jared Verse, Olufashanu, Byron Murphy, Marius Mims, Leatu Latu, Latham Fatanu, and for a lot of people, A.D. Mitchell. And it's possible we might do that. Okay, shoot, I got a trade offer. Let's see. What is this? Oh my... Oh, okay, well... I didn't even have time to look at that. Gosh, dang it. He offered 216. I would have done that. That's killer. He sent with 9 seconds left. I didn't even get to read the freaking offer. I don't know why he would have accepted that. He should have just accepted the first one I sent him, because that was far less compensation. But is what it is. That would not happen on draft day. There's no way a team is calling someone with 10 seconds left on the clock, like, hey, let's trade. So, yeah, still looking at Arnold here. We're going to get through Denver's pick. I'm going to offer the Saints' 4th rounder to the Raiders. See if they bite. If they do, they do. I'm going to be offering that no matter what, though, because Arnold or Fuaga would be great picks for Jacksonville. I know Fuaga's going off the board here at 14 if he's there. I'm very confident in that because I know the Saints need a tackle. I think he'd be a great addition. Even if he's not a guy that is like a huge need right off the bat, that's a player I'm definitely considering, but I'm not willing to trade the farm for him. You got a lot of other options here as well. So, got 30 seconds still for the Broncos pick. Oh, shoot. I don't know why that happened. 13 is available. Okay. I'm not going to DM that guy. I'm good. I'm not going to spend this whole time trying to find him on Twitter. I would think here... I don't think this guy's going to make... Okay, he made his pick. Olufashanu. All right. That was a name I was definitely looking at if we stuck put at 17. Now let's see with the Raiders. I'm going to shoot them. Our 4th rounder. This is the New Orleans Saints 4th rounder. We'll also be offering this to the Saints at 14, especially if Fuaga goes off here. Because with the Fashanu pick, you get one of his tackle options off the board. And yeah, so I think if you get maybe defensive end or a tackle here to the Raiders, he might lose one of his players he's looking at. So that's what we'll watch for at after the 13th pick. But that's one of our last opportunities to trade up. I mean, we're kind of looking at what we got here. I want to get Arnold or Fuaga. That's the ideal situation. And if we don't, maybe we trade back. We try to get more picks. The cornerback would be great. Yeah, Colts are definitely taking a DB. That's why we're looking to trade up with one of these 2 picks right now. Because if we don't get one of them, Arnold's off the board. Might even lose Quinyon Mitchell for all we know. Because one of these teams, well, I mean, let's say the Raiders or whoever moves up with them, if it's not us, that could be the Arnold pick. Ugh, man. In case he doesn't accept that, I'll up the offer a little bit. At least get him thinking. Oh, wait, that's not what I want to send. Shoot, it's... Okay, well, they trade to the Atlanta Falcons. So the Falcons, they moved back from 8 to 18. They got the 2nd pick. Okay, Jared Verse. All right, let's see. New Orleans wants to move. Probably not, but I'm still going to shoot him the offer. We talked about this before, so this might happen. But he's got Fuaga there. So it's kind of a nightmare scenario because I think how this plays out, I think he makes the pick. I think he takes Fuaga. Okay, all right, we got our move up. Awesome. Yeah, so he's got to hope that Fuaga doesn't go to Seattle. It doesn't go to the Indianapolis Colts. I don't think the Colts will take him. I think Seattle's the big one. But we're on the board here. This is an easy pick for me, guys. I know some people don't agree with it. I'm talking to you, Jaguars scriptwriter. But I'm taking Terrion Arnold. He is my number 8 overall prospect. One of my favorite guys in this class, both as a player and also as a person, which obviously it's not the first thing, but he'll be a fun guy to root for in Jacksonville if we get him. He's going to be the pick for us. Fuaga would have been great as well. I care a lot about this offensive line being strong, but at the end of the day, I think Arnold's someone that is going to be an impact player, very quick in his career, and you're keeping him here past that first contract, which we've seen Jacksonville miss with on players quite a bit. So very happy to get Arnold. I think it's probably a realistic pick and a realistic trade that could take place here. You know, we own their 4th round pick from last year. We moved out. We took their 7th. We took the future 4th. Now we give it back to them. We move up the board and we steal a player that Indianapolis, I'm sure, was very much looking at there. Maybe they would have taken Mitchell. That's possible too. But Arnold would probably be the better one Yeah. I'm sorry, man. I know I know you probably don't like that pick. You're going to get tired of it this offseason, but just you could be happy when we get to next year and Terrion Arnold is already on an NFL team. So you won't have to worry about then. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of him. I think he's a great fit for this team as a corner. I think he's a really good man coverage guy. It would be awesome to have him play with Tyson Campbell. You've got Darnell Savage in the slot. You got Ronald Darby as your really good backup. Oh, shoot. Yeah, okay. Indianapolis moved out over that. That's a good trade for Indy. They get 27, and that would be 35. I like that for them. But they are moving back pretty far. Yeah, I think we screwed over Indy. I don't know for sure, but I think we did completely ruin their draft. Let's see what Arizona does here. I feel like it's Quinyon, maybe? Or no, they moved out. They got lots. Okay, this could be Brian Thomas Jr. or A.D. Mitchell. That's probably who it is. Quinyon, okay. All right, that makes sense. They definitely have a need at cornerback, so that's good. Now, if you're Seattle here, my gosh, things have played out well for them. And they can move back a few spots and still get one of their guys. But man, like, you got Fuaga if you want to kick him inside. You've got Fatanu. You've got both the interior defensive linemen and Byron Murphy. And then you got Johnny Newton, who he's one who needs to be higher on my board. That's a really good situation for them. I think this is going to work out really well for the Saints, though. Because I don't know if Seattle really takes their guy, because Verse is already off the board. They lost him. I don't think Seattle takes Fuaga. We'll see. I bet it's a trade. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about Terrion Arnold here. Like I said, I know he's kind of a mixed guy as far as how people feel about him. There's some people who love him, like me. There's some people who aren't completely sold. And he was definitely a late riser in the process. But yeah, I would love to get Terrion Arnold in Jacksonville perfectly. Yeah, you were in a good situation, Jags 21, because we were looking at Arnold and we were looking at Dallas Turner as our top guys after the wide receivers went. Obviously, Turner went off at 9. That's a great pick for them. But, we had a few guys lined up from Alabama there. This is getting traded. I'm curious what team moves up here. Maybe quarterback? Okay, no, he took Fatanu. That's a good pick. I like that. That's probably his floor on draft day. Maybe it's to the Dolphins. That could happen too, but I like that for them. I'm really glad we were able to move up without having to give up much more than 414. Very glad I talked to him. Actually, I'll show you guys proof of this. I did hit him up before this. We were talking about 14 to 17, giving up that pick. So definitely a good message to kick out to him there. I do wonder what the Colts are going to do. I think it's probably going to be receiver. It doesn't look like receivers are coming off quick. Yep, he got Fuaga. That is awesome for him. That's a big win. It's a good trade for him, good trade for me. All right, gotta check Twitter here real fast while we're waiting for the next pick. Nate Wiggins to the Raiders. It's pretty early for a guy who's basically got Emmanuel Forbes size. I was a fan of him before. You can find videos where I talked about him, but he's just too lanky. I didn't like his response as well to, like, what do you think about when you hear Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne? He just looks like a deer stuck in front of headlights. But yeah, that's rough for the Raiders there. And they lost a lot of their cornerback options too. They should have just stuck there and made their pick, I think. Would have had a good one, but they get Wiggins. Let's see what this pick is. I think the Rams gotta go interior defensive line. They just lost Aaron Donald. They've got Byron Murphy here, Jerzon Newton. Yep, I was about to say that. Good pick for them. Makes a lot of sense. I've heard a lot of things just as far as other draft rumors. I keep hearing Amarius Mims to the Steelers from like basically every fan that I've seen. Let's take a look at the group chat as well. Yeah, Colts were looking at a trade. That might have been before that pick. Yeah, okay, they were looking to trade back before. Ha ha ha. All right. It's funny the Texans guy says that when he doesn't even have a first round pick. Gonna go draft like freaking Chop Robinson. We gave up pick 114. It's the Saints' 4th rounder, and this is why I think it's very likely this could happen on draft day, because you know the Jaguars are interested in cornerbacks. That's the first thing. The Saints pick right before Indianapolis, who's also going to be looking at cornerbacks. And you've got a lot of guys there that are really good fits for the system, and Arnold and Mitchell specifically. And we own the Saints' 4th rounder because we traded out last year. They gave us their future 4th, which is this year's that we have. And so it's basically identical compensation to what the Steelers and the Patriots did last year. The Steelers moved up from 17 to 14. They gave up 120. They took Broderick Jones, stole him from the Jets before their pick. The Jets ended up picking Will McDonald out of that too, which really screwed them over because it kind of felt like a panic pick from them because they were obviously looking at offensive line. I believe it was 114, actually. We gave up the Saints pick, is what it should have been. If I didn't give that up, he probably would have been a little upset. Yeah, it's the Saints pick. So we don't have that extra 4th, but we got our pick of the litter at a big need position. Yep, Marius Mims. Okay, that's Alex from Hail Mary Sports, I think, so that makes sense. He's one of the people I've heard this a ton from. Dustin Mosier also mentioned it in our mock draft that basically everyone's talking about Mims. So that definitely makes sense. We got Broshmo up right now. He should go balls to the wall and pick Michael Penix Jr. That would be so funny. But he's got some good prospects here too. Byron Murphy, if they want to get a Christian Wilkins replacement. Jackson Powers Johnson is there. They don't have Connor Williams right now under contract. He's a really good player that they're going to be missing if they don't bring him back. Barden would be awesome. A little early for Frazier. He might just take Brian Thomas Jr., though. He's not a slot. I know they need a slot, but I know he's a huge fan of him, so he might love that he fell past 20 here. That would be one of those picks I think could happen. Yeah, and I do think the logic is sound there. It's just a question of what player are you moving up for. You know, and we don't know how the team necessarily feels, but I do think with receiver and cornerback that the kind of player you want to get there, you're going to have to pick them in the first round. Like, I don't think you're getting a receiver after the first that is going to be elite for us. That's just not what I expect. I think you're probably, if you get one like that, if you want a wide receiver 1, you're kind of limited on your options of who has that ceiling. I would probably say Keon Coleman and then Xavier Legette would be those guys. And I don't know if either gets to that potential. So that's kind of the concern there. And then cornerback, it's like Ennis Rakestraw Jr. is the first guy, I think, that goes on day 2. And he might sneak in at 32 to the Chiefs. That's a great fit for them. And they just traded Snead. You're talking about Lassiter after that. So I don't know. I don't think the options are as good for them after that pick. We got a while until pick 48 comes up, but I will let you guys know that we are watching who's here. Definitely considering a move up the board. Players I'm looking at, I think J.C. Latham would be an interesting one who should not be here right now. I'm not the biggest fan in the world of him, but I do think he can be a really good tackle, and he should be off the board well before where we're at right now. But I do think, like, Dallas Cowboys probably look at him. The Eagles could definitely look at him right here. They could take him. Like a Green Bay. And you've got some other ones I think you could probably throw in. I think the Ravens are the absolute floor at this point. I could not imagine him going farther than that. So then you get to our two receivers here, A.D. Mitchell, Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not comfortable moving up here because I think you've got to give up a lot to move that far up the board. But we're definitely still looking at moving up and trying to get someone who falls. That's what we want to take advantage of here. Cooper DeJean to the Eagles. It makes sense. But if I'm the Eagles here, you've got your pick of J.C. Latham and, you got the receivers even. I would say they need a slot in Philadelphia. And I think that like A.D. Mitchell would still even be good there. I think he's an outside guy, of course, primarily, but they could do something with that. Maybe Devonta Smith kick inside. I just want to have gone to Gene. There's a lot of players I'd have. Probably ranked a bit higher than that. Yeah, and trading up for one of the elite receivers, that's our first priority. And that's what we tried to do to start. Try to make a move up with the Chargers. Maybe I could have talked to him before and we could have worked out something. I just didn't think Arizona was moving back. I mean, I thought it was possible, but they rejected my offer, and I sent them a lot. And I didn't really think that the Vikings guy would be that big on J.J. McCarthy. So I think that's more of an organizational thing than the fan base. But he was. And he moved up for J.J. McCarthy. Maybe he's being realistic. Maybe he just likes him that much. But I kind of figured that our shot was kind of lost there. And we sent a big deal to the Chargers. And I think we sent the exact same one when we go back and look at it. Yeah. You got 2 firsts, second, a third, and a fourth. We can't do much more than that. So it is what it is. But that's kind of how these things go. People usually don't want to trade back when one of those great players are there, no matter what you send them. I don't blame them. Got the Detroit Lions moving up to 29 or 23 from 29. The Cardinals have been wheeling and dealing. They've got pick 11, pick 15. Now they're back at 29. They just got a third out of that, a future. Or sorry, yeah, that's not that great. That's actually not that great of a trade because their fourth next year might not be worth much less than the third, and they're also giving up a fifth. They're moving back 6 spots in the first. That's not a great move for them. But they do have... They've got only that pick left. They're probably the team that's traded the most on here, but we've got a ton of moves on this board. We got 4, 8, 11, 13 through 15, all back-to-back, 17 through 18, and 23 now. You even got some others here that moved back. I wonder if for the Lions, if this would be Darius Robinson. I think that's who I would expect to go to them right now, but I don't think they needed to trade up for that. It's a little shocking. Yeah, Keon or Ricky in the second would be nice. I'd probably shoot for Keon for sure. I'd have him considerably higher. Okay, Brian Thomas Jr. off the board. It kind of just depends on what ends up being there, because Keon, he is a high-ranked prospect for me, but I think someone's going to try to snag him around this point. And I also don't want to be, desperate and then pick a guy who I've got to rely on to be my wide receiver 1 for a while that maybe I don't see as that. And Keon's a little more debatable of a player for me. So I might watch a little closer if I want to trade up for him or not. Because you kind of lock down that position for a while, even if you think he's not the guy. Like, this wide receiver core has 2 players, I think, that are already around for a long time. And if you're spending early capital, you got to get that wide receiver 1. Second round, I'm fine with it, around 48, but I wouldn't move up super far for him. I think A.D. Mitchell I'd feel a lot more comfortable about. It's because I know he can get open, he can catch about everything thrown his way. I will shoot an offer probably around. I can't with Arizona. It's just going to be too far of a move for him. I don't think he's going to like that, and I don't have more picks to offer during this draft. I think the Ravens will be a team I'll look at, and the 49ers. But realistically, Buffalo's just going to get him. They're in so much better of a situation to make that happen. And they need receiver. I cannot imagine that guy either not taking him here or not moving up and taking him somewhere before. That wouldn't be super surprising. It's a 2-round mock draft. I've only got one more pick here. We'll try to move up. We just got to see what the cost is, because at this point, like, if I'm moving up, okay, JC Latham off the board. That's expected. If I'm moving up anywhere at the end of the first, future capital's getting involved in that. And so it's got to be the right investment. And now you look at the board, A.D. Mitchell's clearly the guy, but I can't move up past Buffalo's pick. It's just too much to pay for him. I think Buffalo's definitely going to take him. McKinstry's not an option because we got Arnold at this point. So then you look at offensive line with Jackson Powers Johnson, Graham Barden, Zach Frazier. Obviously, JPJ's a center. You could play him at guard if you need to. I know the real life team won't really consider center just because they, still try to believe in Luke Fortner, and they've got Morse effectively for 2 years. So I think Barden would probably be the most realistic. Would also love Darius Robinson. And he might start falling because Detroit's really the one team I look at anywhere around there to go get him. After that, I don't know if I'm moving up the board for anyone. I'm not picking Cooper. Don't worry about that. He's high on my board, but at this point, there's no way he's going to ever start. Even if I love the guy. Okay. A.D. Mitchell at 25. That dream is dead. I'm shocked Buffalo didn't move up for him. That's a disaster for them. But 25, we can't move up that far. We're giving up at least a second next year, probably our third this year too. There's a lot of picks going their way to get A.D. Mitchell at that point. So yeah, sorry to everyone who wanted him. we can't move up that far. Yeah, I'd be happy with just getting players that are good. Even if they're not my guys, my expectations for the team and what they do are very different than what I would do, because I know there's going to be misses. I know they're going to have players that they like that maybe aren't top of the board for me, but I just want them to hit on picks. I don't want to see this crap like last year, and not trying to throw flack at Brendan Strange or Tank Bigsby, but they're just picks that don't make a lot of sense to me. And Bigsby's probably the one that makes the most just because he at least should have some role with the team. But with Strange, I mean, after hearing the stuff about where Josiah DeGuara was picked, because we signed him and so I learned a little bit about him, it's that on steroids. And that was a really bad 3rd round pick. I don't see how Strange is going to be an impact player for this team as a tight end too, or if he's going to do that much there. So I just want to avoid that, right? Even if we're not picking the biggest position in need, we want to get really good players down to Jacksonville, because at some point we are going to need them, whether it's this year or next. And that's why I'd consider, even center with the next pick, because that player can take the field after this year. They can maybe play guard instead as well. There's different things that you could do there. Yeah, I'm so sorry, man. I didn't think he was going to go off to 25 with the Packers. That's pretty early. JPJ to the Bucks. I don't know their center situation, so I don't know how I feel about that. It's about where he should go. Maybe a few picks later, but he's going to be a great player. Whether or not he's worth that early of a pick, you're still getting a great player. It's just a position that's not a huge need. It can be a huge detriment to your team. We learned that with Luke Fortner. So you got to get someone there. But he'll be a good player. At this point, though, Barden is definitely going to be the apple of my eye for this next pick. He could play literally anywhere for this team. I'd be fine playing him at tackle, even. I think ideally he's playing on the interior and maybe he moves to center. But Barden could be a guy that they bring in now to play right tackle. Maybe you can move on from Cam Robinson's contract and you can play him out there. Maybe he plays left tackle, and Anton sticks on the right for a little bit. And eventually Barden kicks inside. That's also another way, but they have a ton of options is really the point. Xavier Worthy to the Colts. Oh, man. I mean, he is an exciting player, but I don't know if I fully believe he's going to be dominant enough to play up to the 27th selection. I wouldn't pick him in the first round. I think the only team that could try it is like Kansas City. Wasn't Stingley a pick in 2022? Because he was third after Hutchinson and Walker. Pretty sure he wasn't on the board in 2023. I would have remembered it too, having been out there. Yeah, we'll have to monitor what happens with these players. I think Barden goes. I think McKinstry goes. We're not looking at him anyway. If we're moving up, it's realistically Darius Robinson or like Keon Coleman that we're looking at. If Keon gets down, maybe around like Carolina's second pick, I'd consider moving up for that. See what people are saying here. It's from this like 15 minutes ago. Broshmo was trying to trade back. Buck's trying to trade back. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, Cardinals trading a lot. We've definitely seen that. The Bucks and Colts maybe trading around. Xavier Legette at 28th overall. That's the problem right there. Like, you don't move up for your guy. You know you need a receiver. And when you don't make the move, your response is, well, that sucks. Well, we're still going to pick a receiver, even though he's not worth this pick. And I like Legette, but why are you picking him in the first round? It's a bit too rich. Like, you can move back with another team and probably still get him. I mean, maybe Carolina, like, snags him at 33. That's possible, but it's like, it's at his ceiling, where you're picking him. That's just not a great move by Buffalo, in my opinion. But is Xavier Worthy gonna even be going up against him? He might be going up against Tyson Campbell. That's what we gotta hope. Worthy would have to play outside for them, though. That's not... I don't like that. I mean, because they got Josh Downs. He's a slot. That's pretty much official. Pittman's an outside guy. I don't think Worthy has the size to play outside. I don't like that at all. But it'd probably be a bit of a mix of how things go there. Yeah, that's a good point too. Why didn't they take Keon Coleman? Because they at least had that as like an opportunity they could take if they missed out on the top guys. Ladd McConkey to the Cardinals. You're not going to see that on draft day, I'm pretty sure. But they didn't get the receiver. They moved out of 4. They got an edge. They got a cornerback. Now they got a receiver. Oh, man. I can't wait to see what the Chiefs do here. I think they take one of the Mizzou guys. I think they take Darius Robinson or Ennis Rakestraw Jr. Could definitely see those. For the Ravens, I don't know what they do. They would have been probably the ideal Xavier Worthy slot, because as much as I don't know if he's a great first round pick, he makes sense for them playing in the slot there as well. The Ravens need receiver pretty bad, don't they? Because they've got Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham Jr. is not there right now. I doubt he comes back. They lost Devin Duvernay, who wasn't a starter, but one of their backups too. That's not a great situation for them. McConkey is a good player for sure. He's not a bad selection there. I just don't know if he's like a wide receiver one is the only thing. That Terrion Arnold Xavier Worthy matchup is gonna be crazy though. It's gonna be either like Terrion Arnold massacring him or Terrion Arnold getting burned for 70 yards, and they'll just alternate every divisional game what happens. They got asking Anthony Richardson be accurate with the throw, because he can definitely throw it down the field to him. But we've barely got to see him play there. Which is unfortunate. I'm not a Colts fan, obviously, but okay, Keon Coleman to the Los Angeles Chargers. We've got some different stuff happening here. You're not going to find this anywhere else. That's a good... Well... Wait, what? Okay. Who's playing the slot? Marvin Harrison Jr.'s a huge outside receiver. Quinton Johnston's a huge outside receiver. And now Keon Coleman is like also 6'4", is playing where? Oh my god, man. I don't know what the heck they're doing. All I know is, I'm sorry guys, I don't think we're getting a wide receiver with the second pick. Because at this point, it's Javon Baker and Devontae Walker, and I don't think either of them are highest on my board. Definitely not Devontae Walker. Baker would be, well, he's 50th. There's no way he's going to be the guy. Maybe if I move back. So we might consider that. This is crazy, though. We got some weird picks taking place. I might look to move up. Maybe with... Gosh, could be the Patriots. And see if we can get Barden. I think whether or not he plays like center or right tackle or whatever, he's going to be a good player. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Keon Coleman there at 30th overall. They don't have 3 sidelines. You've got 2 sidelines and someone's got to play inside. You don't have a tight end. I think they signed someone. It was just like a random player. I don't know what the hell they're doing. That's questionable. That's the nicest thing I can say about it. It's questionable. I think next year, hopefully, if I do this again, they don't make 2-minute picks and they just make it 1 minute. Because, I mean, it is nice for being able to, have time to trade. But man, these teams are taking their sweet time. We've been here for 48 minutes, and we are, well, actually over an hour technically, but since it started, 48 minutes, and we're through 31 picks. These teams are taking an average of 75% of the clock. It's like the actual teams being told, oh, I know you're going to pick Trevor Lawrence, but you got to wait 6 minutes until you throw in the card. I think Barden is going to make it here to the Patriots. Let's go ahead, get a deal ready for them. Let me look up Draft Tech and see what they say about this. I don't know if I'm offering enough. So 560. I'm thinking about a second and third. So 560, 420. It's a difference of 140. It's 116 for this third. I don't want to offer next year's third because if I do that, it's guaranteed to be a better pick because this is a comp pick we're trading. It's not our normal third. So I'm definitely going to send this year's, and we won't make the pick anyway because it's a 2-round draft. But that's probably what we're going to try to do here with New England. Now, I mean, maybe the Panthers take him as well. Technically, the Chiefs could. But I don't think that'll happen. Famous last words. Chop Robinson to the 49ers does look like a solid pick. I'm not a huge fan of Chop Robinson, but I think he makes sense. He's definitely a need, and he's got the ceiling to be great. He's going into a good team. And yeah, I get that they wiped out. Okay, Devondre Sweat at 32. Can they do that in real life? Please? I hope they do. Oh my gosh. Um, I get the Chargers wiped out the receiving core. They don't have Keenan Allen. They don't have Mike Williams now, and they got Quinton Johnston, who's not that great. But you can't sit Johnston right now, right? You can't play any of these players in the slot either. When you look at their picks, I'll just look really quick. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Keon Coleman. I love Marvin Harrison Jr. for them. Makes sense. But I also question, like, if you're going to pick Keon Coleman, why didn't you trade back with me and just get a ton of extra picks? Because one of these guys, he's not able to start unless you want to have a 6'4" slot receiver. I don't know what the thinking is there, but let's offer Carolina a deal. Just see if they bite. We're just going to start shooting this to everyone because I'm willing to move my third at this point. Now, if we get out, like, past maybe this pick, okay, rejected, not shocking. Once we get past Tennessee's pick, maybe the offer changes, but I'm comfortable sending that at this point. We'll have this ready for New England. We'll see who they pick here first, because if Barden goes off the board, I'm not completely on board moving up. One thing I will say for the Colts, okay, Troy Franklin. Can we trade up in front of the Colts twice? That's the question. Can we screw them over twice? Which they're not picking Barden, but if the Colts get McKinstry at 35th, and then they also got Xavier Worthy, it's sort of like the Lions draft last year, where like Brian Branch was probably the best player they got, but they picked him last. I mean, I could get it at 15 with Kool-Aid McKinstry. And then now you're getting an extra pick. You get Worthy. You get a fifth-year option on him. Obviously, you don't have that on McKinstry. But that does make sense for the Colts. Just not something I think happens on draft day. I don't think McKinstry falls that far down the board. We'll see what they do here. I don't think they'll take the offer. I think they're probably listening to other teams based on how long this takes. Yeah, let's see what people got to say about all these great picks. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, staying at 2-3. I wonder why. Wonder what player you could possibly be targeting there. You see, if we didn't have Tyson Campbell, we would be getting a duo of Alabama cornerbacks here, undoubtedly. We know the Colts are going to take Kool-Aid unless they're tweaking. So we should be able to offer something to the Falcons too if Barden gets past here, if we trade up, or if we don't trade up. This guy might miss his pick. Let's see. Tyler Guyton. Okay. Well, that's about where he should go, to be fair. So we're looking at Atlanta. The Colts should just throw in this pick immediately. We're moving up 540 to 420. Yeah, it's like identical. Okay. Throwing in 332. Kool-Aid McKinstry. Yep, no shocker there. This is a very fair trade. The numbers, I think it's like, 540 to 536. So if Atlanta wants to move back, they can. They did move up here. Yeah, okay. Since Atlanta moved up, they gave up... That's a really bad trade for them. They gave up a future second as well. The Ravens, I'll shoot them an offer. I don't think they move back because they've already done that. They're probably going to pick a player at this point. I don't think they want to make their first pick at 48th. But we could, look at the Panthers again if Barden's still here. But we're getting really far down the board if we get rejected here, where I think Barden ends up going before we can move up again. Wish these people would make their picks a lot faster. This is obnoxious. Houston Texans. Well, let's see what they do. I'm kind of a little surprised they moved back. Okay, that's broken. That's the exact same trade we saw before. Ennis Rakestraw Jr. Okay. I mean, he's a fun player. He's a good player. You know, I would have even taken him to the Chiefs. I don't know what they moved, though. I guess if we look at... Okay, 4th rounder. That's not a big deal. That's a pretty good trade. They got a good player out of that. I don't know what their cornerback situation is, though. Who's the TG agenda? Tyler Guyton. Okay. Got it. It would have been fun to take Kool-Aid over the Colts. That would have been fun. But, I mean, I'm for extending... Oh, god damn it. Graham Barton off the board. I'm for extending Tyson Campbell, so I'm not picking a third guy. I mean, I could say Terrion Arnold is a slot guy, but you got Darnell Savage, too. So, Barton's off the board. I think we're at the point where I'm just going to sit here and wait for our pick. Kingsley Suamatea. Maybe I jump up a few spots to skip over someone. But other than that, I don't think I'm going to take Zach Frazier unless he falls there. I'm not moving up for a center with Mitch Morse on this team and it being kind of unrealistic. Darius Robinson, I'd move up a few spots for him. We'll just kind of have to see how things go, but I don't want to give up our third. I'd rather give up like a 4th or a 5th. I'll still do what I do, though. I'll still be shooting trades to these guys because you never know what people will accept. I mean, you look at the Jameson Williams trade between the Lions and Vikings. That was one of the worst trades I think we've ever seen. Cooper Beebe would be great. Definitely like him a lot. I have him a little below the 48th selection. I've got Fisk at 48, Christian Braswell, Javon Baker, Kamari Lassiter, and then Cooper Beebe at 52. But he would be a great addition. He's just going to be a good guard for a long time in the NFL. Only issue is, like, how well does he fit our system specifically? Because I'm not completely sold on that. But I still think he'd be a fine pick. I'm just hoping he's a guy who kind of falls down the board. We got a trade offer. Let me think about that. I think I'm good. Why would I... Okay. This guy's an idiot. I'll be real with you guys. I don't think I'm moving back 32 selections from the 2nd to the 3rd, not making my pick, and then only getting a 6th rounder in return. I think that might be one of those like Nigerian prince scams. Jordan Morgan to the Tennessee Titans here. We were talking about it in our video that came out yesterday with the mock draft for the 1st round. Our Cowboys guy, Dustin Mosier, was talking about Jordan Morgan being someone they're looking at really closely at 24. Okay, they're flying. Darius Robinson to the Panthers. We wouldn't even have time to send an offer to them. They just threw that in quick. Kamari Lassiter to the Los Angeles Chargers. That's completely fine. At this point, yeah, you got 2 quarterbacks here. Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. looking like they're going to make it out of the 2nd round at this rate. I think realistically, this next pick ends up being Chris Jenkins. We get another defensive lineman. I think you could play a little bit of defensive end as well if you go into some 3-4 looks or just, 3 defensive linemen, the outside linebackers. You can get him on the field a lot. And as well with Armstead, as much as I like the addition, he's going to have some injury concerns as he gets older. And Chris Jenkins is already going to rotate in quite a bit. Oh my God. Is this the Bengals guy again? Oh my gosh. See, I would take that. Okay. What do you guys want me to do here? Because I would 100% take this offer, but do you want me to just stick at 48 and make the pick? Because I think he just wants to make another selection. Just let me know. I'll do what you guys say. But, I mean, if this is real life, yeah, I'm, like, banging the table for it. What we could do is we could accept this and then flip back into the second round and pick up someone. And we got these extra picks in the third. That's a ripoff for him. I think he's just desperate to get into the second. But I'll do what you guys say on that one. We'll leave it for a second. But I mean, he's got, let's see, it's, what picks? 2, 7, and 26. Our 48th selection is worth 420. Then you got 260, 235. That's already worth more. And then again, extra third rounder down here at 90th overall. Yeah, let's, okay, we got stay, trade. Yeah, we're mixed here. Got anyone else with an opinion on this? Hopefully he doesn't pull the offer. Okay, Sua Matea's off the board. That's another player we'd look at. Man, it's just a problem. I don't think teams are going to let us move back in. Trade again. Trade. Okay, yeah. Let's try to trade back in. Let's do it. I think this is a huge offer. He is moving up a bit, but it's just a lot. Let's do it. All right, so we've got a ton of third-round picks now. And honestly, guys, I might see if I can flip 2 of these third-rounders with, teams even before our pick. But players we're going to try to trade back in for. We've got, Michael Penix Jr. is off the board now. I think realistically, Chris Jenkins is one of them. Christian Haynes would be awesome as well. I would love to add him into this team. A lot of these other players might be kind of hard to see a role for them. TJ Tampa, obviously, probably not going to get a starting opportunity in this situation. Tyler Nubin, he's a great player, but you have Antonio Johnson back there at strong safety, and I think he should start. And so you're kind of eliminating a really good pick from last year with that. Like we said with Edgerrin Cooper, there's no way he could possibly start for this team until his 4th year as a rookie at the earliest. So that doesn't really make a lot of sense for us as well. Zach Frazier off the board. In addition, I think the Raiders are just drafting off my big board apparently because they took the 2 top players. That's a steal for them though to get him in the 2nd round. Jalen Polk off the board. Okay. We're going to start floating around offers here. So we've got the Colts and we got the Falcons. Let's send him. We're moving up farther and we're upgrading our picks. So let's see if they'll take that. This would be really brutal to do to the Cardinals GM if they actually accept that there. We'll just keep throwing offers at people. Someone might take it eventually. It's just a question of, do you not want to make the pick? Because I don't know if the Cardinals would ever send that much. Can't trade with the Colts. Division team. Just not doing it. I don't think it's realistic. Could happen, technically, but I'm going to avoid it. Still got all this time until they make the pick. There's still a lot of really good options here. And what I'll do as well, if we are not able to trade up, I'll just tell you guys what we'd be doing at 66. Because we do pick 2 selections after. So, I mean, we'll have a good idea of like who's going to go off the board, who the top 2 players are. So I'll give you my first option, my second option. But hopefully we can get back up here. Okay, Ravens move up here. See who they take. Probably Edgerrin Cooper. Oh, Ricky Pearsall. Okay. Falcons are up. We're not going to trade back with the Cardinals, obviously. We'll see what happens there. But I'm still going to be shooting offers up the board. We've got Chris Jenkins right now. We got Christian Haynes, who'd be players I'd move up for. The rest of these guys, a little more debatable for me. I know Roman Wilson's a really good receiver, but I think he's a slot guy. Not going to make a ton of sense. And there's questions about can these players like even start for us realistically. Christian Haynes, though, I think he'll probably fall a ways. So that would be ideal. See what the Falcons do. Offered them 2/3 and a 1/4. See if I can get their attention with maybe slightly more. I'll offer a 1/6 as well. Still a big win for us. Yeah, the board's not falling well. We've got 2 guys I would want to take in the second round. So, I mean, if we stayed put, we're getting a good player there, for sure. Because we're getting, Chris Jenkins or Christian Haynes at this point, which I'd love both of them, preferably Jenkins. Okay, yeah, they make TJ Tampa the pick. All right, so Arizona's on the clock. We're not moving with them because we already did that. This is our pick. If I was on the board here and we didn't move back, Chris Jenkins is going to be the pick pretty easily for me. Edgerrin Cooper, I have him ranked higher. There's just no role to him having a spot on this team. And say that Foye Oluokun wanted like 15 to 17 million. Say he wasn't extended right now. I would probably, in this scenario, make Cooper the pick, and I would trade Oluokun for something. Even if that's less than what this is, because it would be. Okay, where'd they... Okay, they moved back 6 spots. They could trade. They're just not going to trade out of the first again, obviously. But yeah, if the Foye thing wasn't the way it was, and he wasn't willing to take such a low offer, I would have probably taken Cooper and moved off of Oluokun, got a pick out of it. Probably a 3rd or 4th, I would imagine. Somewhere at the end or beginning of one of those rounds. End of 3rd, end of 4th. What I mean by that. Okay, Commander's pick. Let's see if we can shoot something to the Eagles here. We'll do 3-2, 326, 4-6. Or 416, that is. I don't think these teams are going to accept it, if I'm going to be honest. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to keep shooting offers. All right. As far as who the Eagles take, it's probably Tyler Nubin, right? Because, okay, no, they got Cooper DeJean. They could see him as a safety, maybe a cornerback. I don't know. Okay, Peyton Wilson is the pick. All right, I don't think Steelers are doing it. We're still going to shoot him an offer if we even have time. It's a pretty rich offer, but we've still got a great player on the board here, and we're getting more out of this. Let's see what happens with this. Rejected. Okay, not shocking. Get a Rams offer sent up. I feel like I'm going to be doing this for the next half an hour, just sending everyone an offer that gets rejected, because no one wants to not make their pick. We'll have that on the back burner. Can you guys believe that the draft is less than 4 weeks out? Like, right now, 4 weeks from now, the final round is going to be complete. We're going to be watching, like, the UDFAs get signed. It's crazy to me that that's all going to be over. And after that, I mean, we get, like, off-season programs, but we're done with football for a while. So, it's going to be weird whole summer. For me, it's a year-round thing, though, because not only do I have the channel that I'm going to try to keep going all year this time, but we're also, well, for me, I'm going to be out at Chiefs training camp working there, since I live where they practice. So we go through, like, their dorm rooms and clean them and help them out. It's kind of unfortunate, you know, since I'm a Jags fan. Oh my gosh, accepted. All right, we're back on the board, guys. Chris Jenkins. All right, so let's evaluate this trade. So we moved back from 16 to 3-2. We were going to pick Chris Jenkins, clear as day, right? We moved back up. So let's look at, I want to give you guys exact picks here. So we gave up a 4th earlier for Terry and Arnold. We moved back here. We get, okay, that's what we offered to them. So we gave up 26 and 416, or 326, 416. We got 3-7. Okay, and we kept 332. So essentially, this is what happens. We move back 4 spots. We get our guy. So nothing really changes there. Technically, we're paying him less money because he's a later draft pick. We now have an early 3rd rounder. We have our 96th overall pick still. We don't have our 4th now. But essentially, what's happened, we have the same amount of picks as we did after the Terry and Arnold trade, but now we're upgrading 416 to 3-7. So that's a huge win. I'm glad someone accepted it. I was going to feel pretty bad if we moved back and then didn't get anything done. I don't know if we'll move in again. I'll shoot like maybe 518 if Christian Haynes is there, but otherwise I'll probably just stay put. We'll kind of watch the rest of this. That was lucky, though. Oh my gosh. I didn't think that was going to happen. And it's a rich offer. I mean, we're sending them a lot, but it's a good player. Like, I'd be fine taking Chris Jenkins earlier than 48. Now, how much earlier? Not by a ton, but still, really good player. At this point, though, we're definitely going to be watching Christian Haynes. We'll shoot in some offers late into the 2nd. I doubt we get up, though, because other teams are going to do it, and they're going to be offering stupid amounts of picks. So that's probably going to be our last one for the night, but we'll stick it out for the rest of this. So if you guys got stuff you want to talk about Jaguars related, it doesn't even have to be this draft, let me know, because we got a while here. We've got, 2 minutes a pick? Javon Baker would definitely be a name I'm considering at the next pick. Obviously, we don't get to make it because it's a 2-round mock draft. But you look at my board here. I think Nubin's going to go soon. Christian Haynes probably goes. He was my number 1 option at this point. But that's kind of where we are. Okay, the Colts move back again. Cardinals. Roman Wilson isn't really someone I'm drafting unless he's like at a stupid point in this draft. Braden Fisk to the Texans, solid pick there. We've got Michael Hall Jr., not going to make sense at this point. Chris Braswell, if he is still there, I'd take him. But yeah, you get down to, Javon Baker and Devontae Walker. And those are probably the realistic players to be there. So I'd draft one of them. I think Baker's a much safer player than what Devontae Walker is, but I do think Devontae Walker would be a really good fit for Jacksonville, and I think he's much better than what he showed at the Senior Bowl. I think, he deserves some flack, obviously. He had a terrible week, but you go watch his film. That's not who he is all the time. He doesn't drop literally every single pass. So it's a little concerning, but yeah. Yeah, our defense would be sitting pretty well with these picks. I'd feel good about it. We would finally, for like the first time in years, actually have a stacked interior defensive line. And these guys can kick out to defensive end too if necessary, if like you absolutely have to do it, specifically when you have like outside linebackers on the field and the 2-point stance. But still, like, I mean, you got Eric Armstead, Chris Jenkins, and Devon Hamilton, all really good players. One of them really good. One of them, having been solid. And then, now with Chris Jenkins, like immediate good run defender right off the bat. So, yeah, I mean, I really like the interior defensive line. And then Terrion Arnold, I think, is just a phenomenal fit for Jacksonville and a player that I hope just falls down the board. And this is the exact scenario I'd want to play out. If we're not moving up for Marvin Harrison Jr., which we probably aren't, let's be real, as much as I want to believe it. But this is probably the route I would want to go. Let's see. The Cardinals haven't made their pick. What they're doing, essentially, he's still making an extra pick, but he's just trying to move down, see if he can get his guy farther down the board, and then say, like, look at all these picks I've got, right? And his guy is probably someone who's not expected to go around here. Yeah, so Jared Verse, I would not be that upset. Now, is it the biggest need? No. But how I would look at it is like this. I like Dallas Turner a lot, right? He's not a huge need, but I know he's a great player that you could bring in. Jared Verse could arguably be put above Dallas Turner. I think it's close. I just think Turner is going to have a better career by a little bit. But Jared Verse, like, you're getting a pro's pro. You're getting a player who's going to be an immediate impact. I do believe that. I think he's one of the safest picks you could possibly make. It's essentially just going to be another good first-round pick by the Jaguars. The problem is, what have they done after that? Are they going out and picking these great players in the second round? Like, they got Tyson Campbell at 33, right? That's basically a first-round pick. They traded up their second-rounder to get into the first for Devin Lloyd. Your other picks are, Walker Little. You didn't have your second, obviously, when you moved up for Lloyd. And then last year is Brendan Strange. So it's not been that great in the second round. Then you go back farther, it wasn't bulky, but like Laviska Shenault is your last second round pick before that. So it'd be great. I'd be very happy with Jared Verse coming to Jacksonville. I think we'd have an awesome group of 3 pass rushers on the outside. And most importantly, it's cost controlled. Because you got Josh Allen, who's going to start getting paid a lot this year. Hopefully you don't trade him. But after that, Trayvon Walker's got 2 more years on the rookie deal, 5th-year option that you probably take. And Jared Verse has got 4 years on the rookie deal and 5th-year option that you take. So you're loading up at one of the most important positions on the team, and you're getting guys that you know who they are. They're really good players. So I love that idea. I think it would be great for them. Maybe not my top option, but I do think it would be great. Now, as far as picks here, Mason McCormick, he's someone that I've watched him a couple times, and I don't know what it is. Like, his film isn't great for me every time I watch him. And I think I'm just not watching enough film, but every time I shut it off immediately. I don't know why I do that. I'm just going to have to sit down, watch multiple games, because I know there's a lot of hype behind him and there's a reason for it. Usually when I'm really far off from consensus, I'm usually wrong. And there's some players I think you get some crazy perspectives on. I'd have to probably think about who I would use as an example. But Mason McCormick, he's probably a player that's a good late day 2 pick. I wouldn't take him this early. Jalen Wright's a good running back, but can I note that he's the first running back taken, and you have Trey Benson just sitting there? You got Christian Braswell to the Buffalo Bills, not to be confused with our Chris Braswell that we picked last year. It's a good pick. Jaden Hicks? What the hell? You got Tyler Nubin here. He's a better pick. He's a better player right off the bat. He's the same exact position. And Jaden Hicks, to me, is a project. So, I don't get that. And Roman Wilson to the Cardinals, great pick. And they had not. They took Ladd McConkey. Yeah, okay. So one of them's playing outside, probably Ladd. He's taking a lot of snaps outside, although I think he'd be better on the inside at the slot. But I mean, some solid picks, and then you got the Cowboys just being weird here, I think. Yeah, I think it was a lot of nerves for him. And it was the same thing with Xavier Legette. The difference, though, is that Legette got better as the week went on. Like, things changed. You saw him start to succeed. And part of it, too, for both players was that the quarterbacks just weren't giving him that much of a shot. And every time they had a shot, things just went wrong. But, one player grew above that and the other didn't. And, I think Devontae Walker's, he's going to be good, but there's the bust potential as well. So it's really close for me between him and Javon Baker. I might lean Devontae Walker, even though it's a little riskier. But it's such a weird position because you've got two receivers already on this team that are established to be here for at least 2 more years. You're not moving on from Christian Kirk after 1 more year. I don't care what he does. It's going to be nearly impossible to be in that situation. So, yeah, it's weird because you have to pencil them in as the other guy, but you still need a wide receiver 1. So, yeah. I'm going to shoot a couple offers here. We'll see if anyone bites. I'm not going to offer much. I'm moving with a 5th, so I don't think it's going to get taken, but I'll throw it out there at least. I'll wait for Lions and Chiefs till their pick comes up. Yeah, rejected. All right. So we got 4 more here, and then might recap a little bit, maybe just run through, look at some of the picks. Out of all these picks, who was your favorite tonight? Who would you like the most out of them all? There's some very interesting ones, some very confusing ones. Kyron Amagaji, that's a good one. I think looking back at this, I mean, you got to start with the Commanders because they just were handed Caleb Williams. I still don't get why you wouldn't trade back there. I think it's obnoxious to do that. I think the Marvin Harrison Jr. pick was great for the Chargers. I just have questions about what the heck they were doing with Keon Coleman at 30. Malik Neighbors to the Titans. Dream scenario. Joe Alt to the Bengals. And they gave up their 2nd-round pick. That's worth it. You take that every day. And then I really liked what the Saints did moving back. That was a great trade for both of us. We both got players we really wanted. He still got his guy moving back. He took that shot. Fatanu went off instead. Now he gets his 4th-round pick back, and we didn't have to give up much to go secure our guy and take him from Indianapolis. And I'm going to love when the Rams pick a defensive lineman now on the interior, just with how things are there. Dolphins get their Wilkins replacement. Let's see what else we got here for good picks. Troy Franklin is probably a solid one for the Panthers, but I just have the size concerns. I was a huge fan, but that's a problem. The Colts and Texans did great with these picks. Really good players to bring in. I think there are probably needs for both teams. Maybe the Texans have some. Well, they have Jeff Okudah. So it's debatable, but I think Rakestraw could maybe play inside. Tavier Thomas went to Tampa as well, I'm pretty sure, so they lost him. Barden is good for Baltimore. Let's shoot Detroit an offer just because. See what else we got here. Darius Robinson, great value for the Panthers. Packers got Sua Matea. Michael Penix Jr. in the 2nd round's great. I actually don't remember seeing that one. That's a really good pick for them. Edrin Cooper, great value. He was picked with our original pick. So, good spot for him to go. And yeah, probably Chris Braswell to the Bills, Kyler Namagaji to the 49ers. Those would be my favorites in this class, I think. Yeah, I think Terry and Arnold was one of the best picks. I think it's mainly the logic for it that's really good, because it just makes a ton of sense to move up with the New Orleans Saints, whether or not it happens, and you get to move right in front of the Colts. Now, the Colts were already planning to move back. We saw that from the chat, but I still think it's great. Like, you steal their cornerback, and for all we know, they waited until their pick, right? So they were probably trying to see who was there. We may have taken their guy doing that, because I just don't see a world where Indianapolis should pass on him unless they say, well, yeah, we got Quinyon Mitchell here, and we think he's better. That's debatable for sure. Maybe that could have been a solid way to go. Lions might not make their pick here. In Kansas City, they're going to make their pick, but we'll still send it in. Austin Booker goes off the board here. Kalen Bullock to the Colts. Decent picks, but yeah, I mean, Christian Haynes, like, he should be getting taken any second. I'd be furiously trying to move up at this point. We're just not going to have anything get accepted there. But yeah, as far as this third round pick, we've hit defense really hard. We've got some good offensive players sitting here. We're finding a way to get Christian Haynes or one of these two receivers. You could also convince me that Patrick Paul would be a really good pick in the third round. Worst case scenario, he's a damn good swing tackle, probably more of a left tackle, but I think he makes sense just because of his build. I think he can move pretty well, and he's a good pass protector, which is what Jacksonville values the most in their players. So I'd like that at that selection. But if we're not getting probably the receivers or Christian Haynes, I'd probably be moving back from that selection and trying to get something from a team that really wants to move up at that point. Pearsall to the Ravens would be a really good value. And like we were saying, they need a lot of receivers on that team. Because I think right now, from my understanding, and we'll double check this, I'll make sure I'm right on this, I think they just got Zay Flowers at this point. Okay. Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar. Those are their two other receivers. Case closed. Now, Rashad Bateman might be good on Madden, but that doesn't matter in real life. So, Kansas City takes Patrick Paul. All right, so that's our 2-round mock draft. Really good time here. I appreciate you guys joining me for this. As far as our picks, like how I feel about them, like I said at the start, the number one plan for me that I'm hoping to have until the draft comes, because I think it's the right thing at the end of the day, or the best thing. There's a lot of right things. I think it's to move up and get one of these top receivers. And if you're going to move up and you're going to pay a lot, pay the price for the best one. For some people that could be Neighbors, but I think it's Marvin Harrison Jr. If you get him in Jacksonville, this wide receiver core all of a sudden becomes one of the best in the league. Especially if you can get Gabe Davis consistently playing at a high level. That's a lot you can work with there, but you're getting your number one receiver for over a decade. And you can't miss with that kind of pick. Sure, you give up a lot, but it's worth it. After that point, like if you don't get one of those receivers, well, for me, it's Dallas Turner, it's Terry and Arnold, and then you're looking at players like Fuaga, you're looking at Jared Verse, those kinds of guys. And so we probably got our second tier of players who I still think can be really good. I've seen a lot of good comparisons for Terry and Arnold to Jalen Johnson, for example, who just signed a huge contract, playing like one of the best corners in the league. I think Arnold can be that kind of player. So getting him at 14 is a really good value. You don't have to give up a lot to go make that move. It's not going to hurt you that bad. Chris Jenkins, it was a really good move for us because we got to move back and we moved back forward as well. We still got our guy that we wanted. He was there on the board. And we end up, ultimately what we do with just the move from 16 and the move back up to 20 in the second round is we basically turn what is the 116th pick in the draft into the 71st. So that's pretty good, because that's the pick we're looking for, Christian Haynes there, ideally. So we'll never know what would have happened at that point, but that's definitely what we were going to look at, and I think it would have been a great haul for Jacksonville, even if it was the second option for me. So that's what I've got for you guys. Appreciate you joining. It's fun to stream. Haven't done this for a while. I guess we had one early in the off season, I think I saw, but we haven't done this quite a bit. So it's nice to get to talk to y'all. Really enjoy it. It's fun doing this. I love recording the videos and talking to all the fans. A lot of good guys out there to discuss this with. But that's all I've got for you tonight. We'll have more content coming out soon. I think the next video, ideally, unless there's breaking news, will probably be interior offensive line rankings. And then we'll go through receivers, we'll go through defensive line, we'll go through cornerbacks as well. That's the plan. We'll have that out before the draft. And then, once we get to draft week, we'll have that final mock draft. I do plan to release a video talking about Marvin Harrison Jr., the idea of it. I think that would be fun to at least discuss whether or not you're on board. But we've got some content here planned, and let's just hope that the Jaguars do a great job in the draft so, we can be excited. But we'll see what happens. So